Hey everyone, how's it going? Neil back once again with another Hindsight streaming review for you. And today I'm going to be taking a look at The Boys Presents Diabolical on Prime Video. Same place that we watched the live action Boys series, of course. And it certainly whets our appetite for season 3, coming in June. However, don't really need to know that much about The Boys to enjoy this 8-episode adult animated anthology. And each episode is done in a different animation style, which I thought was really, really cool. But I've got, again, I'm going to spoil stuff. So spoiler alert, spoiler, okay, there you go. Now, much like Batman Gotham Knights or the Animatrix, you do get a different style each time. It seems like maybe a different studio, but I think it's just different style every time. It's a hit and miss affair, some good, some bad, some just okay. A lot of the episodes are excellent, and some are just meh. But, I won't talk about all 8, because I don't want to go on too long and, yada, 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 hammer on about this show. But I am going to point out that, it does start off with a bang. We get Rogan and Goldberg writing, they're executive producers of The Boys, of course, and they wrote this episode to start us off, which is about this little baby that gets powers, and it's very, very bouncy animation, very like Roger Rabbit, in that cartoon, especially that Roger Rabbit was in with Baby Herman at the beginning of the movie. That's the kind of animation that we're seeing here, like Steven Spielberg produced kind of animation, and that was kind of cool. And this baby just kind of accidentally killing people with her powers, because she has no idea. So it's like, ooh, talk about an innocent, bystander of this whole process, because of course, they inject young people, babies even, with this compound V, this superhero serum, and that's what gives them all the powers, and they're experimenting with them, and this is, how it kind of goes awry, of course. So that was cool. I think the best episode was actually number 3, which is called I'm Your Pusher, and it's based strictly on the Boys comics. This is the one episode that doesn't have to do with the live action episode, although Homelander is voiced by Anthony Starr from the live action show in this sequence, so that's cool. But it was written by Garth Ennis, this particular episode, of course, based on his comics. He created The Boys, along with Derek Robertson. And this episode 3, was a real delight. It's just about this superhero, this one superhero anyway, that's trying to join the douchey Justice League, or the Seven, as they're called. And he's addicted to this horrible drug, and he winds up having his drug spiked by Billy the Butcher here, voiced very well by Jason Isaacs. So not Carl Urban, but Jason Isaacs this time. And if you're watching this particular episode, number 3 here, and wondering why Huey looks like Simon Pegg, right, instead of Jack Quaid, well, that's again because it's based on the comic books, and the comics have always had little Huey there based on Simon Pegg. Garth always had him in mind, or maybe Derek, I don't know whose idea it was, but either one came up with the idea of saying, hey, let's put Simon Pegg in this book, basically, and they did. It's a young Simon Pegg, so that's who he is. He was a Scottish character, I believe, in the comics, and of course he's American in the live action, so that's the only thing that may confuse some people, wondering, like, what, like, why is Huey a redhead now, but yeah, no, just to explain that a little bit there. But it's a wonderfully violent episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. And number 5, however, the BFFs, was written by Awkwafina, and I love her. She was great in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. She was really funny. But she writes this episode, and it's probably my least favorite out of the bunch here, BFFs. This episode is about this girl who takes some of the serum, and she winds up getting powers to create friends out of poop. Yeah, kind of like Mr. Hanky on South Park. Yeah, definitely the weirdest one, if not the worst one, but it was my least favorite for sure. Number 7 actually was pretty cool. I guess I'm just doing the odd numbers here mostly, but John and Sun Hee. This episode was kind of touching, actually. It was written by Andy Samberg, and it's about a man who steals the superhero serum to try and cure his dying wife's disease, but her ailment, but there are, of course, consequences to this. And we've seen this kind of story before. At least it was very familiar. It was like, yeah, someone doing something very desperate to save a loved one, doing something illegal and dangerous, and there are horrible consequences in the end. The wife, Sun Hee, who winds up healed, but also has this weird black cancer power that comes out of her chest. I know, it's really strange. Winds up killing people and things like that. It's like, wow, like she's like a bigger threat. Like they made things worse by not letting her die a natural death, in other words. So there's a lesson there, and it's a great kind of story. I've seen that story before, like I said, but it's really well done here. I thought Sandberg did a good job writing it, and it was really well directed. The final episode, episode 8, 1 + 1 = 2, is also one of the better ones, I thought. And, it is basically about Homelander, voiced by Anthony Starr, and it's about him joining the Seven, in the past, and he winds up botching a rescue attempt, and all these hostages die. Black Noir is also there, Black Noir being like, basically Snake Eyes. He's this guy all in black with no skin showing, and he is silent. He's mute, the whole time. You don't really know what he's up to. I've read all the comics, so I know what Black Noir's deal is. I know who he is. Don't know if they're going to go the same direction with the live action show, but in this episode, I was a little worried that they were going to spoil things for people. They did not spoil who Black Noir was in this episode. So that was cool. Black Noir is, Homelander treats him like a threat at first, but then he realizes, oh no, he's actually there to back me up and help cover up this horrible, horrible botching of the rescue, as Black Noir kills the last hostage. She was totally fine. She was freaked out, but she was, physically fine, and she would have been okay. She would have survived, but Black Noir killed her to cover up Homelander's, mistake. So yeah, shows kind of that kind of loyalty and teamwork there between those two. For now. So the running theme here is clearly that, the VOT and its Compound V, this superhero serum, is dangerous as fuck, clearly. It's very unpredictable. It leads to many deaths and dismemberments, and, there's not a lot of characters that you can really root for. It's kind of like, who's the less douchey of the douchebags here, but, clearly the boys themselves are the characters that we should be rooting for, so we do look at, Butcher and Huey that way. But some of these other characters that are, brought in just for one episode, like the characters in Nubian vs. Nubian, written by Aisha Tyler, those are interesting characters. Parents that are going to get a divorce, but then their daughter decides to bring back an old villain and have them beat the crap out of him to get back together, to get that thrill back again. So that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I mean, most of these episodes are pretty damn good. They're pretty cool. I enjoyed it quite tremendously, and certainly, it's of course it's full of violence and swearing. It's all over the fucking place. I mean, it's the boys. It's Garth Ennis. There's going to be a lot of sex jokes and stuff too. You got to come to kind of expect that. It's really great, just like the live action show, just like the comics. It's great entertainment for those that are so sick of superheroes. If you're Marveled out, you're DC'd out, whatever it may be. If you wouldn't mind seeing a bunch of heroes just straight up die bloody, violent, horrible deaths, and then this is the show for you. You definitely want to check it out. It's a good one for those that are tired of all these superheroes. Justin Roiland wrote an episode as well. This writing cast is very, very impressive. So that was great. I mean, there's a lot of pleasant surprises here. And I don't really have too many complaints. Just that one weird poop episode, I guess. But no, most of it was fantastic. So, I thought, despite the oodles and oodles of violence that you would expect, it's going to put off some people. And please don't mistake this for some kids show. Parents, if you have Prime Video, don't let them watch this. For God's sake, don't let little kids watch this. Yeah, you'll regret it if you do. But for us adults, especially for those of us that are fans of the comics, this is a real treat. So I'm going to give The Boys Presents Diabolical on Prime Video a solid 8 out of 10. It's a good time, and I think I'll actually watch them all again, because some of them were just really, really good, really, really memorable, and a lot of the different animation styles are cool too. Most of the animation I thought was really sharp and fun to look at. So there you go, that's my review, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in to this Hindsight review. Until next time, this is Neil. Peace.